everyone, and welcome to the Climate Career Kit podcast. This is your host, Aishani Garg. If you are a high schooler looking for direction in climate change related careers, tune in to every episode for advice from the diverse leaders in climate jobs today and learn about new and exciting opportunities that you can pursue. Today's guest is Antonin Demazy, co-founder of vegan leather company Alt Leather. We are so excited to have you for the 8th episode of the Climate Career Kit. Thank you so much for being here.
All right, thank you so much for having me. And yes, I really hope that I would be able to contribute to your super exciting project and give you the information that somehow will trigger in you the wish to get into a career which is sustainable.
So what is your company Alt Leather about?
Right, so Alt Leather, it's an Australian-based company that will create 100% vegetable material alternative to leather. So no animal, so it's purely vegan. No plastic, because you will see that most of the vegan leather at this stage that is available on the market actually contains a lot of plastic, which is not good, and no nasties at all. So, and all this will reuse agricultural waste here in Victoria, Australia.
So what do you do as part of this company?
Well, at this stage of the company, it's a very early stage, right? So we are 2 people working full time. We are on a pure startup mode. So we are working, but still not very, we don't have salaries because we are developing this. And so Tina is the other person, and Tina actually is, she has the idea of doing this product. So Tina and myself, we have a set of people who advise us. So when we can reach to, actually, there's a lot of people that are very keen to help us in developing these materials. But I have a very broad skill set from my past experience. I've got a PhD in engineering, and so I actually leverage all this to support the scientific and engineering development of the material, but also all the financial projection, accounting, business strategy, and so forth. Just because I have a strong consulting background in my, let's call it, past life. And Tina, though, she's a driver, and she's out in the market and trying to get all the future clients excited about the product that we will be putting in the market very soon.
Of course. So yeah. I'm really curious to know, where did this idea come from?
Right. So the idea, as I was mentioning before, is not mine. That's Tina's one. Tina has always been very sensitive to sustainability and climate change and biodiversity, and she started creating bags. So she was doing fashion bags made out of cactus leather. So she was designing the bags and thinking, oh yeah, I want to create a line of accessories which would be animal free, leather free. And she researched and find this cactus leather. This is not the only alternative leather that exists, but that's the one she picked. And she soon realized that that cactus leather still contains a lot of plastic. I mean, the coating is polyurethane, it's plastic. She say, well, this is not good enough. It's better than the leather, but it's not good enough. I really would like to have something that is completely plastic free. And you say, how can we actually do that? So she had that idea. Probably it's 8 or 9 months ago. And she's a friend of mine. And we start to discuss that and see how if I could help her in some ways. And I say, well, as I had this engineering and I was very connected with universities here, having just finished a PhD, say, well, I can put you in contact with some scientists, and all started like this, up to a point where in December I just left my job, and I'm doing that full time with her because I'm so convinced that this is much needed. There is a market. Will be successful, and that's such a great place to work. And you finally I can feel that I'm doing something that matters, and that's actually good for her. So I just love it.
Of course, yeah. So how exactly does this work? Like, how do you turn plant material into leather?
Right. So we'll That, of course, it's still kind of a trade secret, right? We cannot really tell you how we do that. That's still perfecting the formula. But if you think of it, I mean, leather is an animal skin, right? It's animal skin that is being treated, and it's resistant and elastic, and that's what you want in the use of the leather that we commonly know. Now, if you think of in the vegetable world, I mean, there are some other, I mean, very similar properties in plants or trees. So it's just a question of selecting the right parts of the vegetable and the different plants and mixing them together. It's a bit more complex than mixing them. There's chemistry involved, so there is some process that needs to be done to have the right combination. But yeah, it's how it is, and then you have a beautiful material that looks and feels like leather, but it's just not leather. We'll be creating this material by rolls, big rolls that will be sent to fashion industry, footwear industry, furniture, automotive, that will use the material to actually build their own shoes and bags and sofas and car seats and stuff like that.
So, what skills do you believe are necessary to become an entrepreneur?
Well, to become an entrepreneur, I think you need to have a vision, right? You need to have a good idea. Doesn't need to be rocket science. I think that a lot of people are scared of becoming an entrepreneur because they believe that they need to have an idea that no one has ever had, or that needs to be really pure rocket science. It's not true. The idea needs to fit a market need, right? Need to realize that in the market there is something that is not existing that will help people doing what they are doing, or and that's only the only thing that needs to qualify an idea. It doesn't need to be super smart. It just needs to be realistic and addressing a real need in the market. So you know that people will actually need and use and buy this stuff. And that's the vision part. So that's the first thing. Then you need to have a lot of courage and resilience because, I mean, nothing will ever go as planned. You will have a plan, you will think, but you have got, highs and lows, and you need to be, yes, you need to be ready for that, and you need to be ready to pivot and change idea and be very flexible while you are building. So building a company, there's a very famous analogy. It's a bit like jumping out of a plane and learning to build your parachute while you are just free falling, right? So you're better being able to do it, because if you don't do it, you crash. And unfortunately, there's a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of startups, unfortunately, don't make it. But I would say that the two main reasons why a company or an entrepreneur is not successful, first and foremost, is probably because the idea was not actually fitting the market. So there was actually no need for that. And maybe it's a brilliant idea, but no, there's no need. And if there is no need, I mean, there's no business, and that happened. The second thing is connected to skills or an attribute that is necessary, is having a great team. So you don't do that alone. You do that with people, and the size of the team doesn't matter. I think that, to me, the smaller the team, the better, because it's easier to to get along with a smaller team. But it's very important that in the team you need to be complementary in terms of skills. So that's one thing that's kind of obvious, but also in terms of character. I mean, choosing or having a business partner is as important as a life partner, as having a wife or a husband. You need a lot of courage and resilience. Time will be hard, and so you need to have someone to be able to work in a very hard time.
So, what advice do you have for a high schooler who really wants to start a sustainable company?
Right. So sustainability in general is very huge, right? So it originates from the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations that you most likely know. And if you look at it, that covers a really comprehensive range of goals that as a humankind, we need to achieve to be able to live on this earth, and we are now 8 billions. We probably will be 10 to 12 billions by the end of the century. If we keep on using the resources as we are using them and polluting the earth, I mean, we won't make it by the end of this century as a species. So that's very important. And I recommend everyone to go and have a look at those 17s because they're actually very descriptive and very nice, and they are really, really, yeah. It's a nice read, and that can inspire someone in starting. You know what I was mentioning before, the market gap. You can start to reading all those and say, yeah, how those goals can be applied in my particular area using my skills and where I live. And you will see that everything you can find some of those goals that, yeah, I could do that. Of course, you will never, as a small company, I mean, address the 17, not 17, sure, not the 17 one, but even one full one at global scale. But if everyone does something very small at local scale, it's already a very good thing. There is something for everyone. So if my advice would be go to look at those sustainability goals. Try to understand what actually connect with the most. This is something that's an issue that I'm particularly, for some reason, I'm passionate about, or I want to solve, and think how you can solve that locally, and what kind of skills you already have, or maybe you still need to build to be able to do something in that space. But I mean, it's not the future. It's more than the future. It's a necessity we all need, and your generation, you all need to think sustainable.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And to all the listeners, make sure to tune in to the next episode of the Climate Career Kit.
Of course, I will. And thank you so much for having me. And I wish you all the best to all the listener and to your great project. Keep on doing this good work.